This is Priest Island, the most remote and isolated of the Summer Isles which lie northwest of Ullapool in the Northwest Highlands. In this video I'm making a dash out there for a night on this charming speck of land, trying to make the most of the short winter days.
My name's Feargus, and this is the middle of nowhere. Hello and welcome to my first video of 2024, and if you're watching this shortly after I've released it, I'd like to wish you all a happy new year. It is cold, the days are short, and there has been a ground frost on a regular basis over the last few days, so I don't really feel like going up into the mountains. So I'm going to do something which I've wanted to do for a very long time, and that's to head out for a camp on one of the Summer Isles, which lie in the bay west of Ullapool in the northwest. So it's supposed to be sunny, but it's not. Well, that's the way things go up here. Looks like it might get sunny a bit later on, but it's going to be a couple of hours to paddle across the water out to the island that I'm heading for, Priest Island, because it's about 6 kilometers and most of those are open water. So it's not something I really trusted myself to do when I was just using a pack raft, but now that I have a kayak and the forecast is very stable for the next couple of days, I think it's time to give it a shot. So let's get out on the water. Land ahoy! Priest Island at last. It's very rugged. Looks like I can get out over there. The dead kelp from the summer. Priest Island, always seemed so far away, and here I am. Good fresh water supply. What a lovely little gem. cold and it's dark. It's been dark for over 2 hours now. It's about 6:30. Despite the cold and the dark, I really felt like I needed to get out tonight, which is something that happens every so often. I'm not embarrassed to say that for most of my adult life, I have struggled on and off with depression and chronic stress and anxiety. And getting out and doing things like this, I have found, is the best antidepressant which I've come across, basically. And the last 2 or 3 weeks, I have been going through a rough patch where I've been feeling particularly low. But having the option to come and do something like this and just get a bit of time on my own makes such a huge difference compared to before I moved up here when I was living in the south of England. I'm much more stable here because I can just get up and get away from stress and just be on my own for a day or two, and it really helps to bring the levels down to something more manageable. I might discuss my history of depression more in a future video, but that's all you need to know for now. What I will say is that I do struggle a bit at this time of year up here. I don't mind the cold so much, but the long dark nights, I have a hard time with nights that exceed 17 hours as they do around this time of year. Normally, as a counterbalance to that, at some point after New Year's, when things are quiet and flights are cheap, I will head abroad, chase the sun somewhere so that I can get a decent dose of light. Tomorrow, I will get up with the sunrise so that I can have a look around, give myself enough time to have a bit of a look around the island itself before I have to get back on the water, because I need to give myself enough time to paddle all the way back to Mellon Uldrigal before it gets dark again, and then I can drive home. It's quite nice outside now though. Rain stopped ages ago. There's a bright moon lighting up the landscape. Good morning. I was wondering why the sea seemed so loud. It's because it's right beside me. It's clearly a spring tide right now, because it was way off over there last night, and now it's come right up to engulf this little, what appeared to me to be a little bit of fresh water last night. Right, I'm going to go up that hill and get some pictures when the sun comes up. All right, this is the highest point on Priest. Check it out as well. There's the Ullapool Stornoway ferry coming in from Stornoway for its early morning run. The sun is finally here, a bit later than planned. The island, of course, is all spread out below me. It's a little bit more than a square kilometre in area, so not big, bigger than some of the summer isles, but big enough to require a reasonable amount of effort to get around. It's a little hut down there owned by the RSPB, which I'll pass by on the way back to the tent, because they manage the island because it's a triple SI and a really important breeding site, apparently for storm petrels. But I am way out of season, so I'm not at any risk of disturbing anything right now. In fact, I haven't seen, apart from the seals that I saw when I was arriving on the island yesterday, I haven't seen any wildlife on the land at all, and a spider that crawled into my tent. Absolutely stunning and absolutely freezing. In the shaded bits, as I was walking up here, there's even a little bit of ground frost. Lovely. Absolutely beautiful. Look, there's even a few trees that managed to grow on this really exposed little spot in a relatively sheltered corner up in this little valley. Well, RSPB, I hope you don't mind me borrowing a piece of corrugated metal for your roof, which you left lying beside the hut just for a few minutes until this shower passes through. Should have really walked around in my dry suit. Now the rain has died down a bit. This is the RSPB hut that I can show you. It's a cozy little spot. It's locked for understandable reasons. Otherwise people like me might decide to sleep in it. Looks pretty cozy inside. And it's got a nice little loch next to it, just over here. And what I find very interesting is the sign on the door, just saying that the island doesn't have any invasive predators, in other words rats, which is really cool to see. I have only seen that kind of policy where people remove rats from really remote islands like South Georgia or the sub-Antarctic islands to the south of New Zealand. But a little island like this, which is a really important breeding site for birds, that's really cool. I wonder if there was actually an eradication program. I'll have to look that up. I wonder, could a rat have hidden in my boat all the way out here without me noticing for 2 hours? I doubt it. Anyway, back to the tent. It's breakfast time and I'm starving. most paddlers would be able to leave their sandals on for the duration. But the world is not designed for really tall people. Don't ever wish you were really tall, especially if you're into sports or outdoor stuff, because it's really inconvenient. Nothing fits. Some good caves on the coast here. There's too much swell to go paddling into them today, but very impressive. I am on the south side of the island instead of the north side, which was the original plan, to go all the way around, because there were some terrifyingly large swells once I got around the corner to the north side, so I've cancelled that. The cliffs are, I don't think, quite as spectacular, nor are the caves, because of the way that the island slopes upwards kind of towards the northwest. You're going to get all the really good stuff on the north side, but that swell and those crashing waves were way beyond my comfort level. So I'll just have a brief potter around here, and then I gotta go all the way back across there towards the sun. It's a long way home. Absolutely stunning light now. The cliffs over there, a couple of miles to the east on some of the other islands, are looking really spectacular in this light. I'll have to make another trip out at some point later in the year. Right now, I gotta turn towards shore. I'm already eating into my safety margin by a few minutes. So, say bye-bye to Priest Island. Head back to the safety of the mainland. A couple of hours away. I'm back. Oh, that's enough adrenaline for a while. Of course, once I got out of the shelter of the island, the swell returned. It was bigger than yesterday, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger until I got into the shelter of the rocks here. I'm not used to there being a significant swell in this area, in the Minch, the area between the Outer Hebrides and the mainland here, because the Outer Hebrides block most of the Atlantic swells. It probably doesn't look like that much on camera, and you know, I was nowhere near losing my balance and falling out or anything. It's just very disconcerting, you know, to look to the side and see these big waves about to lift you up, and then you just get, there's nothing you can do about it. It reminds you that you're not in charge out here in the wild, that the ocean is very, very powerful. So next time I will check what the swell is doing before I go out for a long paddle like that. I made it back before sunset, and now I'm going to have a very late lunch. It's about 3:20, and then go home. It's cold. I only realize that it's cold now that I get out. I was so busy, preoccupied on the way back. So anyhow, that was exciting for me. I hope it was interesting for you. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you want to, give a little mention in the comments below. I'll be back soon with something else, more than likely on dry land. Cheerio.